Close your eyes and picture the briny wind of the North Atlantic hurling itself against the lead-grey cliffs of the Orkney archipelago, a forlorn frontier where sky and sea revolve in an unending waltz. From that opalescent fog, legends take shape, and the thunder of a colossal, skinless horse, its veins throbbing like crimson rivers, echoes along the shore. Rising above the beast's equine mass looms the torso of a gigantic man, fused into one nightmare that defies every constraint of mortal imagination. Its name is Nuckelavee, the terror of Scottish waters, a sleepless demon that has haunted fishermen, farmers and poets for countless generations. I invite you, therefore, on a cinematic journey to uncover the birth of this terrifying figure, its fearsome powers, and the deep imprint it has left on the culture of Scotland's Northern Isles. Prepare to step into a universe woven of legend, suspense, and unfathomable mystery. The precise origin of Nuckelavee sinks into the mists of time, at the crossroads between Scandinavian tradition and the myths of the Northern Gaels. Oral chronicles from the 14th century describe a marine entity that rose from the waves with the winter storms, punishing those who dared to flout the forces of nature. Linguists suggest that the creature's name stems from Old Norse roots that intertwine words for water, darkness, and devil, a hint of the religious syncretism that blended pagan visions with Christian fears. As Viking settlers laid claim to Orkney, their stories of sea monsters, such as the dread Jormungandr, merged with the tales of the Picts and the Gaels. The result was a new demon, harsher than any of its predecessors, Nuckelavee, master of fiery steeds and harbinger of plague. With the spread of Christianity, medieval clerics reshaped the legend into a moral warning. Nuckelavee became a symbol of human arrogance, a divine scourge meant to punish blasphemy and greed. Ecclesiastical records from the 16th century recount seaside processions of prayer in which the faithful implored the saints to shield them from the monster. Thus, the myth acquired not merely the role of a fireside horror story, but also that of a social mechanism, enforcing cohesion and caution within communities beset by storms, famine, and epidemics. It is said that whole villages rang church bells through the night, trusting that sacred sound would drown the hoofbeats of the demon. As for appearance, descriptions shift from village to village, yet every account shares one unifying element: unmitigated horror. Nuckelavee is half horse, half human, the two torsos fused in a spectacle of raw flesh, without a single scrap of skin to conceal muscle fibers that writhe beneath the moonlight. The human head, thrust unnaturally far forward, lolls grotesquely with each stride, while cavernous, incandescent eyes burn like twin torches of hatred. According to legend, its breath spreads a noxious vapor capable of withering barley fields and poisoning livestock in the pastures. The four hooves, 2 in number, slam into the soil, leaving ash-smoldering footprints, a grim reminder that the fires of the underworld travel wherever the creature roams. Yet this abomination bears a surprising weakness: fresh flowing water. Folklore insists that Nuckelavee cannot cross a pure stream or rain-fed river. From this belief arose the local custom of erecting crude, unfinished wooden bridges over watercourses, the villagers convinced that the river's roar and the scent of sap would keep the demon at bay. Such vulnerability lends the tale a classic mythic balance. No monster is invincible, and hope remains a weapon at humanity's disposal. Elder storytellers claim that a single splash from a spring could force the fiend back into the surf, howling in frustration. Within oral tradition, encounters with Nuckelavee range from terrifying to paradoxically life-saving. Some tales portray it as a lord of plagues, responsible for the smallpox outbreaks that decimated isolated communities. A 17th century farmer recorded that his entire hamlet perished after a skinless silhouette was sighted on the clifftop amid a whirl of blood-tinged mist. Years later, folk songs insisted that only the prayers of a solitary hermit, pure of soul, drove the beast back into the sea. Other ballads grant the creature a contradictory facet. In one of them, a fisherman lost at sea is rescued by a colossal seahorse, only to discover later that his savior was Nuckelavee itself, wishing to prolong terror rather than human life. This duality deepens the mystery. Is the demon a moral judge, an agent of wild nature, or merely a mirror of collective dread? In these questions lies the story's enduring power, elevating it from simple scare tale to cultural vein rich with meaning. Tavern yarns still debate whether the monster punishes arrogance or simply revels in chaos. The influence of Nuckelavee stretches far beyond pure folklore. Orkney embroideries from the 18th century depict a skeletal horse stalking scorched fields, while Victorian lithographs brandish it as a symbol of industrial decadence. In the 21st century, authors of Gothic fiction reinterpret the monster as a metaphor for climate anxiety. Independent Scottish films cast it as a tragic figure, trapped between sea and shore, condemned to wander eternally without redemption. Thus the legend evolves, reflecting each era's preoccupations, from plague to pollution, from theological sin to ecological crisis. Politically, historical testimonies speak of local leaders who exploited fear of Nuckelavee to cement authority, warning citizens that the demon punished those who failed to pay dues. These chieftains secured hefty tributes and unconditional loyalty. Certain chronicles even suggest that landowners donned hides by the lightless new moon, crafting elaborate deceptions to simulate the monster's arrival. Such manipulation illustrates how myth can be weaponized, turning superstition into social control. Across the centuries, scholars, priests, and adventurers have tried to unravel the phenomenon. A naturalistic theory proposes that Nuckelavee personifies communal terror of hail, tempests, and diseases born on the damp northern wind. Ruined harvests, drowned fishermen, cattle plagues, all found a perfect scapegoat in the skinless demon. Linguists point to the gradual transformation of ancient Norse terms describing a turbulent sea into the creature's very name, indicating a personification of untamable natural forces. Cryptozoologists, drawn to every trace of anomaly, speculate about an unknown marine mammal, perhaps an enormous squid relative or an aberrant walrus, whose distorted corpse after death might have sparked the legend. Other researchers explore the hypothesis of collective hallucinations produced by toxic fungi growing on damp grains, capable of inducing vivid visions, including hybrids of man and beast. Cultural anthropologists add that isolation and ceaseless storms bred a climate ripe for stories that could explain random tragedy and bind the community together. In recent decades, documentary crews have deployed submersible drones near Viking-era reefs, searching for unusual fossils or carcasses. Although they have found no conclusive evidence, they have mapped fragile ecosystems painted crimson by red algae, which, in dim light, resemble exposed veins on raw flesh. These images provoke the question, did our ancestors witness something real, And did imagination complete the rest? The quest continues, driven by equal parts scientific rigor and childlike wonder. As science has explained natural phenomena, belief in demons has retreated from the forefront. Nevertheless, Nuckelavee has not vanished. It has metamorphosed. Today, its name haunts video games, graphic novels, and streaming series. Cultural tourism in Orkney offers moonlit trails along the coast, where guides recount the hollow laughter of the skinless horse echoing through rocky gullies. Thus, the legend forms a bridge between past and present, a source of local identity and economic livelihood. Cultural psychologists emphasize the cathartic role of such myths. Confronting an embodiment of absolute fear allows modern minds to project their anxieties onto an ancient symbol, taming terror through narrative. Whether the demon exists or not, its spectre remains a mirror of its age. In a world wrestling with climate upheaval, global epidemics, and unpredictable technologies, a medieval skinless horse from Scotland still gallops through our collective subconscious, reminding us that humanity remains, at heart, the child of its stories. So, after traversing with me the blood-stained and fascinating history of Nuckelavee, ask yourself, what deep impulse within us allows such legends to endure? Perhaps it is the need to give shape to the unknown. Perhaps it is the wish to keep alive the memory of dangers lurking beyond the glow of the hearth. Or perhaps it is a love for unadulterated mystery, that elusive force which refuses ever to be fully unraveled. În noaptea când marea urlă și norii se prăbușesc peste coasta nordului, există încă localnici care spun rugăciuni vechi și lasă lângă fereastră o cupă de apă proaspătă ca semn de pace. Nimeni nu știe dacă Nuckelavee se află acolo, invizibil, adulmecând parfumul ploii și căutând un pod pe care nu-l poate trece. Însă în ecoul pașilor săi imaginari se ascunde esența însăși a umanității, teama, credința și speranța că dincolo de întuneric lumina va răsări iar. Rămâi cu inima deschisă, călătorule, și lasă legendele să-ți ghideze pașii către lumi neștiute, căci acolo unde mitul se întâlnește cu realitatea, începe adevărata aventură.